believing the Quran and the Sunnah and the Shahada says in Tafseer of Inshiqaq, where are you going? Allah doesn't have, where are you wandering around? So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has continuously spoken and discussed the two different groups. And in Surah in Mutaffifin, in Fitar, Allah did the same thing. Allah talks about Abrar and Fujjar. Here again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ فَسَوْفَ يُحَاسَبُ حِسَابًا يَسِيرًا. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِ فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُو ثُبُورًا. So Allah wants everyone is on the same page. There are always two groups of people. There's haqq and batil. Haqq and batil. لا يستوي الأعمى والبصير. فريق في الجنة وفريق في السعير. There's a group in the fire of Jahannam and the group of Jannah. وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة ووجوه يومئذ باصرة. You know, تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه. There will be days when on the day of judgment when the faces will glow and the faces will be darkened. So these over and over Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. He questions in Surah, in Qalam. أَفَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ. It says, this is the no, they're not equal. Even in this dunya, if you are treated equally or unjustly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a reward for the pious. Now, Allah, in the last surah we talked about, and in the last class we talked about in length, the blessing of having the book of deeds coming to the right hand. And we also talked about the term of yameen. It means strength, it means promise, it means confident. You know, when you shake someone's hand with your right hand, it means you made a deal. So the deal that you made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is complete. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fulfilled the promise. Now, in different places in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِشِمَالِهِ. Over here Allah says, وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Waqi'ah says, وَأَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ مَا أَصْحَابُ الشِّمَالِ فِي سَمُومٍ وَحَمِيمٍ وَظِلٍّ مَّن يَحْمُومٍ لَا بَارِدٍ وَلَا كَرِيمٍ طرفين كانوا يسرون على الحنث العظيم وكانوا يقولون أئذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما إنا لمبعوثون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about these people of Shimal. What are the sifat of the people of Shimal? What they used to do, how they lived their life. And a person needs to analyze it. And Surah Inshiqaq it does mean the ripping of the sky. But Allah wants you to rip into your life. And we will discuss this, how the meaning of shaqqa has so much to do with a person's life. Like sometimes it is difficult, but rip through the nafs. It is difficult. There is a happiness which is ajil, and there is a happiness which is ajil. Well, there is a short-term, quick happiness, quick investments reward, where there is no credit. And the ajil, with the alif, is the one that is preserved, the reward that has been stored, which is going to come later in akhirah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to clarify what is ajil and ajil. A non-Muslim or a fajr, his reward or her reward comes very quick. Inna Allah la yadhlimu abdan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not do dhulm on anyone. يُعْطَى بِحَسَنَاتِهِ فِي الدُّنْيا. في رواية كما قال, if a non-Muslim does good deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives her or him their reward in this dunya. And a Muslim, if they do good deeds, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could give them the reward in this dunya, or يُعْطَى بِهِمْ فِي آخِرَةٍ. Allah can give him the reward in akhirah. So this is the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will talk about the two, the إِنَّهُ كَانَ فِي أَهْلِهِ مَسْرُورًا, and we talked about the last time, celebrate before it's over. Don't start to celebrate before you hear the buzzer in basketball. Even if you're up by good dozen of points. In any sport, don't start to celebrate too early. Islam has the same rule. Don't start to celebrate too early. Oh yeah, I prayed, I went for Hajj, I'm going to Jannah. No, there always needs to be this consistent worry. I don't say fear, but consistent rectification, reflection. What? And if a person has this type of mentality and mindset in business, his business will go down. The best businessman always worried about his business. They're very cautious. Rich people are not rich because they have a lot of money, but they use their money wisely. This is simple. Like Ibn Musrifin, for a reason. Allah wants people to become wealthy and rich, but the way to do it. So similarly, people in business and world and corporate world, they are always counting and accounting themselves. And they take account of their business partners, wherever they go, they are. They're doing this auditing all the time. Similarly, in this human who lives a life without any audit, without any rectification, without any checking yourself, checking your pros and your cons, and the good and the bad, this human will slowly fall into a ditch, and it will be very difficult for him or her to come out. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about the reward of ajil. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give this person or this individual a reward in akhirah. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. And the person who receives their book of deeds, from the back, وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ. Now, does this mean the book will come from the back, rip through the back? So we know on the Day of Judgment, the disbelievers, their hands will be tied around their neck, like this, or like above their back, like this. Like they will have chain. إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ أَغْلَالًا فَهِيَ إِلَى الْأَذْقَانِ فَهُمْ مُقْمَحُونَ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about how they will have their hands. They will cover their hands will be around their necks, behind, and they will be chained. أَعْنَاقِهِمْ أَغْلَالًا. There will be a chain around their neck. Their heads will be up like this. أَذْقَانِ فَهُمْ مُقْمَحُونَ, like this. They won't even be able to look down. Part of the reason is because in dunya they walked very proudly. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reverse that ideology against them. Now you have these people who are receiving the book of deeds in the right hand, and then now you have the book of people who are receiving the book of deeds from the back. People who receive the book of deeds in the right hand, they are described in the Quran also. أصحاب اليمين ما أصحاب اليمين في سدر مخضود وطلح ممدود وماء مسكوب وفاكهة كثيرة لا مقطوعة ولا ممنوعة وفروش مرفوعة. You have the reward of all that they have done, the Ashab al-Yamin. In the last session, we talked about إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ مَسْرُورًا. And we spoke a little bit about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He gives the reward to a person even if there is someone in their family who's done more than them or less than them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings it to the highest level. So if your child, your mother, your sister is higher than us and higher than you and I in Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will join us with them in paradise, because real happiness is when you are enjoying with your family. Allah says, جَنَّاتُ عَدْنٍ يَدْخُلُونَهَا وَمَنْ صَلَحَ مِنْ آبَائِهِمْ وَأَزْوَاجِهِمْ وَذُرِّيَّاتِهِمْ. جَنَّاتُ عَدْنٍ يَدْخُلُونَهَا. For who? وَمَنْ صَلَحَ مِنْ آبَائِهِمْ. So your family, your parents. وَأَزْوَاجِهِمْ. Your wives, your spouse. وَذُرِّيَّاتِهِمْ. وَذُرِّيَّاتِهِمْ. And your children. And the children's children, all your progeny. But of course, that does not give the person the right, now I can do whatever I want. I have someone in my house who's hafiz al-Quran. وَمَنْ صَلَحَ. وَمَنْ صَلَحَ. So there has to be someone salih in the family that continued that legacy, inshallah. كَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. In Surah Kahf, كَانَ تَحْتَهُ كَنْزٌ لَهُمَا وَكَانَ أَبُوهُمَا صَالِحًا. And the tafsir of this ayah in Jalalain, it's written 7th generation. 7th generation, Khizr came and he took out the treasure, broke the wall, took out the treasure for those people. Like he asked for food, people didn't give him food, so, and now he's doing them a service. So Musa's like, we asked him for help. They didn't help us. Here you are fixing the wall and moving the wall, and you're bringing out this treasure. He says, listen, in the tafsir of this ayah, it says that if the parents are pious, Allah will sustain their generation and their progeny. Even if they're above, years before, in lineage, not 1, not 2, not 3, 7 generations difference. Even then, Umar bin Abdul Aziz, when he was passing away, a lot of times parents make this assumption that I need to find myself a job, my husband needs to find the best job, so we can send our children to the best schools, so they can get the best degree, and they can get also a good job and get happy life. Umar bin Abdul Aziz, which is right. We're supposed to use logical and practical measurements. Also, Umar bin Abdul Aziz's statement is very powerful to understand. You have to weigh them on the same scale. When he was passing away, someone said to Umar bin Abdul Aziz, you are leaving nothing for your family. 9 daughters, few children, such a huge family, very few boys. And Umar bin Abdul Aziz is like, in kanu salihin, if they are pious, inna wallahu yatawalla salihin. Allah has taken the responsibility of taking care of pious people. Allah will take care of them. This is why the Prophet ﷺ used to say, teach your children and your daughters Surah Waqi'ah. Anyone that reads Surah Waqi'ah after Maghrib Salah, lam tusibhu faqa abada. Will never become poor. Never become poor. Ibn Abbas had the same rule in his house. He made all of his daughters learn Waqi'ah. Prophet ﷺ, teach your women Waqi'ah. Anyone that reads it will never become poor. But see, we have the reward of recitation is still there. Yeah. So all the fadail are not in Sahih Hadith. All the Islam is not in Sahih Hadith. So we have to also look outside of Bukhari and Muslim to analyze. If someone was to restrict all their Islam and virtues to Bukhari and Muslim, they're very limited. No, even Tabarak, even if you read it every night, there is no specific qaid that you have to read Tabarak, what tadabbur, and then you will be safe from the adab of the qabr. Whoever reads Surah Mulk at night, Allah will protect him from the adab of qabr. Allah has kept the Quran general, because how would someone do tadabbur who doesn't know Arabic? So reading the Quran in general, of course, then the idea is to read it with the translation and understand it. But you receive full blessing of that surah even if you read it without tadabbur. How much tadabbur do we do in salah? But our salah still is rewarded. So the tadabbur is encouraged. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنِ Ponder over the Quran. But the fact that a Muslim is reading the Quran, it's good enough for a person to receive the reward. It doesn't have to be done with tadabbur to receive the benefits of Surah Mulk. You don't have to read Quran. It's encouraged. And of course, it's encouraged, it's farad for a kafir to do the tadabbur, because he's a kafir. But a Muslim, he already believes in the Quran. Now the more tadabbur she does or he does, it is encouraged and it's benefit to their iman. But you cannot specifically say Quran needs to be read with tadabbur in lieu of receiving a reward. That's a very limited discussion, statement. We have to make it general, because the world is very limited Arabs. And even the Arabs are very limited who understand the Quran, who understand and read Arabic properly. So you need to keep the scope of the language of Quran open to everyone, and then we are encouraged. What if a person doesn't have a translation? He's not going to read the Quran. The Quran is supposed to be read throughout someone's life. The Malaysians can read it, the Indonesians, the Japanese, the Chinese, anyone can read it, and they will get the full benefit. A lot of focus is being made on translation and understanding the Quran. Alhamdulillah, the new generation is making that effort. That's why we have the Tafsir program. It's encouraged. But not look how many people can come. 9, 10. Islam is very easy. Islam was very simple. A non-Arab could accept the Quran and maybe not understand more than Qul Huwallahu Ahad and enter Jannah. But they practiced it. If you ask them to do tafsir of one surah, they would probably not be able to give you the simple translation of the first few ayahs. But they practice. What is matlub min al-Quran? Matlub of the Quran is amal fiha, wa amal bima fiha. واجتناب بمنواهيها والتماس بأوامرها. The matlub of the Quran is to practice the commands and to refrain from the forbidden prohibitions of the Quran that are mentioned in the Quran. That's the matlub after believing in it. This is why the first shart of a mufassir to even allow a person to give any commentary of the Quran. Of course, Imam Suyuti has around 27 usul skills you need to have to be considered a person who can even do commentary of the Quran. Not some random sister pick up the tafsir and do a sister tafsir. Or random brother pick up the Quran and this is what I feel the Quran is talking about. Man qala fi ra'yihi faqad akhta. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever says the Quran by their own opinion, even if they're right, they're wrong. They need to speak through the lens of the Sahaba, the lens of those who heard the Sahaba. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he explained the Quran. It has to be done with the principles and usul. So Imam Suyuti, Itqan fi ulum al-Quran, the principles of tafsir, he speaks about you need to have more than 20 ulums. Some people say 29, 27. 27 usuls like nahwa, sarf, grammar, tarikh, nasikh, mansukh. All these, sabab al-nuzul, all these are supposed. Now, every ordinary person cannot make this analysis. And of course, encouragement is there to learn as much as tafsir the Quran, but everybody has their own, limitations. You're right. Let's go ahead. So you have وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Again in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who are pious people, who are believers, وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ, and followed by their children who believe in Allah. أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ, we will join them with their children on the Day of Judgment. Having the reunion of a family, not only in this dunya, as also having this reunion in akhirah, when everybody is together with the family. Because honestly, it would be very difficult for a person to even think that their father, like Ibrahim alayhi salam, thinking that his father Azar is going to Jahannam. The challenge, the challenge that Rasulullah would have, his uncle Abu Talib, not giving the gardens of paradise. So these challenges are clearly mentioned in the Quran. This is why the Prophet cried. This is why Ibrahim's expression is expressed. Attended to Islamic school. I did my best. I practiced. And they're like, what can I do? Then Allah brings the story of Nuh. Said, listen, hidayah is in the hands of Allah. You have to make the effort, and you have to make the to do during the night. Make effort, and then cry at night. Oh Allah, my son, my daughter. Say, we're going to worship. We're going to follow the same tradition. So even a prophet on their deathbed wasn't worried about their finance. What is your aqidah? What are you going to believe? What are you practicing? Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's leaving. He said, Allah, please give me children. Made dua for 80 years. At the age of 85, Allah gave him Ismail. Why were there in so much desire of children? Because they can carry the empire and they can follow there was no kingdom. They were simple people. So someone can to follow and carry this tradition of Islam. That's why mothers wanted, Allah, give us a child. We will give the, like, إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لَكَ مَا فِي بَطْنِي زكريا وكفلها زكريا إن كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا. Every time Zakaria came, found rizq out of season in the room of Maryam. قال أن لك هذا؟ قالت هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. She said, this is from Allah. When you see the help of Allah, the unseen help of Allah, what happens to you? Your iman goes up. What happens? Like, wow. You made dua. Oh Allah, I'm getting late for my flight, or I'm coming late. Oh Allah, somehow you make it easy for me to make it to the airport on time, or the flight gets delayed and I want to make my flight, Ya Allah. And when your dua gets accepted, and now your faith was zadahum imanan, you're like, Allah heard me. Allah answered my call. That time, the iman of an individual is at another level. It's a time of acceptance. It's a time of qubuliyah. So Zakaria saw this. He saw this unbelievable help of Allah to Maryam. So Zakaria is like, I'm so old. I've been making dua too. Hunalik means at the moment. He didn't walk outside and go to the Maqdis or to the Mihrab. Hunalika da'a Zakaria. At the moment, oh Allah, you do this for me. هنالك دعا زكريا قال ربي هب لي من لدنك ذرية إنك سميع. And then how this is the adab of dua. هب لي, والله, gift from your ilm, from your qudra. I don't have any. I don't say أولاد. ذرية أولاد is big difference. You know, أولاد can be fitna. إن أموالكم وأولادكم فتنة. ذرية cannot be fitna. Special different word Allah used. ذرية طيبة. What is طيبة? كلمة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرح في السماء. You know, it's beautiful how Zakaria made. This is something that just as a lesson, that the constant worry of the prophets, people, were their children first. The biggest activism of a mother is in the form of her children. How it reflects the mother taught him this. When they look at me, the first thing someone says, as when I go as a do, they don't even ask about my father. You know, I've gone places where sisters have said, when you go back, but because mothers have the first lap of education. You know, this is why when you have in Islam the right of a child after divorce, who gets the right up to the age of 7? Mother. Because the adab inside, like psychologically proven, the adab and the character of a child is built from the age of 3 to 7. After that, you can't change him, or you could, you know, polish him. But the main character, the temperament, you know, the adab and akhlaq, that's when it's made. My father says to me, he's like, when you were young, I took you to my sheikh. And I said, make dua for my son. What should I teach him? When should I start teaching him the Qaida Nuraniya? When should I start teaching him the Quran? I want to make him hafiz by the age of 6. You know, he had all these unbelievable ideas. So Sheikh said, listen, just teach him adab. Teach him how to hold the spoon. Teach him how to greet the elders. Teach him how, when someone is speaking to them, to look at them. When someone elder is there, to stand up and give them space. Teach him adab, because when they learn their adab at this age, the rest will come. But if they don't learn adab, then it becomes very difficult. And that's where the child has to be developed. And the mother has the child custody for a person, for a reason. Where boys and girls are different ages, because Islam knows that the only person that can groom the child at that age is the mother. The child is affected to the mother. And after the age of 10, 11, 12, the child starts listening to the mother and starts listening to hopefully, to someone at least, to the father. So there's this, it could change sometimes. This is not, you know, it could change sometimes. But this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught this Islam. The parents have a huge role in the upbringing of their children. Father and mother needs to be the support. If the father and the mother don't see eye to eye, you're lucky if the children come up the way you wish. Even in a career, in anything. And I say this to my family. the parents have to be looking, on the same page, if not on the same sentence. You can't be on the other half of the book conclusion, they have to be on the same page, because children are very special. This is not a class for raising children, because I'm still struggling with that. Okay. وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُو ثُبُورًا. What happens now? يَدْعُو ثُبُورًا. They will cry out, yell out. So over here Allah used the word da'wah, not nida. Nida is a specific yelling. General. وَنَادَى. They were just going to yell generally. Just someone help us. وَنَادَى أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ وَأَصْحَابُ النَّارِ. You have. So وَيَدْعُو ثُبُورًا. Da'wah, supplication, calling out to someone is specific. You're calling someone specifically. In this ayah, فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُو. Allah says gradually. They'll get the book of deeds in their left hand or from the back. They won't all of a sudden cry. فَسَوْفَ, after a moment, gradually there will be this succession of movements that will take place in Akhirah, meaning he will come, he will get his book of deeds in his left hand, and then he will go ahead, then he will see Jahannam. When he sees the walls of Jahannam, and the rooms of Jahannam, and the pits of Jahannam, now he will cry. فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُو ثُبُورًا. He will cry and yell out. ثُبُورًا. What is ثُبُورًا? أي هَلَاكَ. Halak. Oh my Allah, now I'm destroyed. Meaning, oh Allah, why throw me into hell? Just kill me now. Ya laytani lam, who took me out of the grave? Man ba'athana min maqadina. Who's taking me out of the, and they will wish death will come to them. Ya laytani kuntu turaba. Kuntu turaba. I wish I was just made into dust again, because knowing the reality of Jahannam compared to death is easy. That's an easy bargain. So they will wish, just take my life. Sometimes when a patient gets very sick, just stop, that's it. Can't take it anymore. Of course, Islam doesn't encourage, suicide. We try our best in medication, but this is a situation this person will be in so much pain and grief. That's it. I can't do it anymore. This is why what is the principle of Islam when someone is going through depression and wants to die? There's a dua of that in the tradition of the Prophet ﷺ, that if life becomes difficult upon you, this is a dua to you. Read. إِذَا ضَاقَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَرْضُ بِمَا رَحُبَتْ. What do you read? When that word tightens upon you, what is that? Even when it's so vast, what do? إِنْ كَانَ الْحَيَاةُ خَيْرٌ لِي فَحْيِنِي. Oh, life is good for me, let me live. إِنْ كَانَ الْحَيَاةُ شَرٌ لِي فَامْسِكْنِي. If hayat is not destined to be good for me in the future, and Imam Bukhari made this dua. Imam Bukhari was, he was given difficulties at the end of his life. So there's no such thing as asking for death. Well, I want to die. I want to meet you. حُبُّ لِقَاءَكَ تَوَفَّنِي الْآن. نَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. One guy was doing tawaf around the Kaaba, comes to a sheikh, he says, Sheikh, make dua, I die here, inshallah. This is the best place to die, is Hajj, make in his ihram. So the sheikh raised his hands. He said, no, not yet. I mean, in the future. I'm not ready to die. But everybody has that, like, I want to die in Medina, I want to die in Makkah, I want to die giving charity to people. But not yet. I still have my children, my wife, enjoy life. So this, فَسَوْفَ يَدْعُو ثُبُورًا. This person will cry destruction. And now, why? وَيَصْلَى سَعِيرًا. And then it's saying we will not throw him into Jahannam. وَيَصْلَى. Naturally, يَصْلَى, the dhamir, is speaking of himself. He himself will go towards Jahannam. He's like, you know what? Naturally, I have nothing else to do. I'm just going to go here. وَيَصْلَى سَعِيرًا. He will submit himself or herself towards the Sa'ir. Sa'ir is the fire of Jahannam, and is used in the terminology of the Jahannam of the kuffar. The Shahiqan wa Sa'ir. There are different Jahannams. And this Sa'ir is a Jahannam which is specifically for the kuffar. Sa'ir. Next, and it's used a lot in the Quran. إِنَّهُ كَانَ. And the Quran also talks about this word. Different places, ثُبُورًا. بَلْ كَذَّبُوا بِالسَّاعَةِ فَأَعْتَدْنَا لِمَنْ كَذَّبَ بِالسَّاعَةِ سَعِيرًا. People who deny the day of judgment, we prepared for them adab al-sa'ir. Like, بِالسَّاعَةِ سَعِيرًا. A very strong and torture punishment for these people in Jahannam. Next, why? This is we're talking about people who want to celebrate too early. إِنَّهُ كَانَ فِي أَهْلِهِ مَسْرُورًا. Because while these people were in this dunya, إِنَّهُ. There are two mubtadas in this sentence. إِنَّهُ كَانَ. These people, it's not a natural sentence, because you brought the noun before the verb, So innahu, you're supposed to say kana fi ahli masrura, but Allah brought innahu kana fi. Like, so these people, while they were in the dunya, they were always, had no worries. They were careless. Careless people. They didn't care about their children. They didn't care about their family. They didn't care about where their earning was. It's just, I got the best house. I got my car. My husband has the right, clothing. The wardrobe is perfect. The life is good. And the level of dunya. So they were really not concerned about. And in time to time, there was a little bit, holy gatherings on the side. And then after the gatherings, there was extra activity of backbiting. So innahu kana fi ahlihi masrura. What is this? In the dunya, they were just enjoying their time. The opposite of this, of the pious people, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَبْلَ ذَلِكَ, they were, كَانُوا مُشْفِقِينَ. There were people who were always worried about akhirah. Like, what's going to happen to my akhirah? إِنَّا كُنَّا قَبْلُ فِي أَهْلِنَا مُشْفِقِينَ. This is the ayah of the Quran. They were before the day of judgment, they were worried about their akhirah. So وَيَسْلَى سَعِيرًا إِنَّهُ كَانَ فِي أَهْلِهِ مَسْرُورًا. Now إِنَّهُ ظَنَّ أَن لَن يَحُورَ. They would wish. إِنَّهُ ظَنَّ أَن لَن يَحُورَ. They were thinking, ظَنَّ here means knew. They had this yaqeen. إِنَّهُ ظَنَّ. They knew, or they assumed, or they had this belief. أَن لَن يَحُورَ. What does yahur mean? Yahur is hara yahuru, ay raja', to return. When you go for a stroll in the morning, you walk from your house and you walk around the neighborhood and you come back to your house. That is yahur. When you leave one place and you come back to that place. So Allah is saying they used to believe there is no return. Ay laysa ruju'. There is no return. And this is the tafsir of this. Inna dhanna an lan yahur. Where a person is always coming back to their first, appointed area. Allah says, no. Bala. Inna rabbahu kana bihi basira. Indeed, there was indeed a return. Ay bala. There was going to be a yahur. That's how it's supposed to be read. There is a return. Don't just think, oh no, there's no return. There is a return. At the same time, inna rabbahu kana bihi basira. While you were living your life, your Lord was watching every single thing. How you were living, what you were doing, everything you said, everything I did, all this was recorded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah has talked about the recording of these people in the previous surah. Kiraman katibin ya'lamuna ma taf'alun. Now, the word yahud, it could be, there's not enough time to talk about the word yahud, but in short, there's a dua that I recommend people reading that has the word yahud. The dua is, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hawri ba'da al-qawr. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hawri ba'da al-qawr. Again, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hawri ba'da al-qawr. What does this mean? Ma'na min al-ruju'i ila al-nuqsani ba'da al-ziyada. Oh Allah, after living a prosperous, happy life, I ask refuge to come to a life which is difficult. Hawri ba'da al-qawr. Hawri ba'da al-qawr. Hawri ba'da al-qawri. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hawri ba'da al-qawri. Kawr, kaf, waw, ra. If sister, you can type this out and put it on the group. Sister Ajaj, Jazakallah khair. So, meaning this dua, Rasul used to make this dua, Allah, after living happy life, going to more difficult. Because once someone has reached a level, now to come back, it becomes difficult. Making it from down up, it's easy. But if you're living with everything, you have all the luxury, alhamdulillah, now challenges come, worries come, and end of life. This is why we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the ending of our life easy for us. But afiyah, because the best thing after taqwa and yaqeen is afiyah. When the Prophet ﷺ heard someone making dua, Allah give me sabr. Allah ja'alni sabbaran wa suburan. Allah make me patient, make me. So what are you doing? No. You're patient. You can only be patient when you're tested. That means you're asking for a test. Fas'alullah al-afiyah. Ask Allah for ease and afiyah. And of course, there are ways to have the happiness coming in our life. This is how the word hawd is used in the hadith. When you're returning back to difficulty, everybody came with nothing. So in reality, we were in nuqsan. we developed a family and a community and a business, we don't want to fall back again. We don't want to start over. This could be in a marriage that is, it's almost breaking, a family that's about to break, or a business that's about to, go into bankruptcy. This dua should be read. And of course, duas are very powerful. There's so much more you can talk about how to call it. Also, it means الرجل يكون صالحا ثم يتحول رجل السوء. A person was a pious person, then he became an evil person. He was a good person, then he turned to be an evil person. So this hawri ba'd al-qar does not only mean to the dunya aspect, also deen aspect. Oh Allah, don't make me a person that was pious and now it turns, in the end of their life, turns to be a person that's just following their desires. This is why Allahumma inna a'udhu bika min fuja'ati al-khair wa na'udhu bika min fuja'ati al-shar. Oh Allah, I ask you for sudden good, happiness, and I ask refuge from sudden worries, like shock, like all of a sudden something hits our family or our community, and that makes us go through difficulty. That sudden, bad news, the death of someone, the sickness of someone in the family, cancer. We ask Allah, please. We're weak people, we can't tolerate this. I will translate it, I'll send it inshallah. Next, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالشَّفَقِ. Allah swears by بِالشَّفَقِ. Salam knows what shafaq is, and a lot of us know what shafaq is now. Shafaq is twilight, or the redness of the sky after Salatul Maghrib. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there are three types of shafaq. Shafaq al-ahmar, shafaq al-abyad, and shafaq al-aswad. Okay? But here we're only going to talk about shafaq al-ahmar. Maghrib salah, there's Isha salah, and there's Fajr salah. These are the three different shafaq. It's the redness in the horizon, in the sky. So Allah swears by bishafaq. Ajib, selection of words. But وَاللَّيْلِ وَمَا وَسَقْ. And the light, in the night, when it envelopes everything. What happens at night? Everybody comes back to the house. The creatures and insects go back to their families and their places of rest. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالشَّفَقِ وَاللَّيْلِ وَمَا وَسَقْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, wasaq means ay jamma wa laffa. To return, to gather, and to cover. Wal qamari idha tasaq. This is also beautiful. And by the moon when it becomes complete. So if you notice, if you focus a little bit on the words, the Quran is speaking about gradual and progressive change. Inevitably, when the sky becomes red, what's coming next? Isha. Inevitably, when a person becomes young, he becomes old and dies. Inevitably, if a person is in this dunya, there will be an akhirah. There is a progressive change, gradual change. Similarly, wal-layl. You went out, you did the day activities, but you have to return. وَمَا وَسَقْ. You're going to come back to your family. Allah is teaching. The qamar has different changes of the nights. It becomes a crescent, then it becomes bigger and bigger. It is inevitable. It's going to become bigger. The next day, if it comes, the moon will grow. That gradual change it's set. Similarly, the change of this human is also set. Human was nutfa, fa'alaqa, thumma, that change in the mother's womb, then a child, then a young boy, then a young man, then a married woman, a young girl, to a married woman, now a mother, now a grandmother. So that gradual change is taking place. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants this human to make that gradual change in the spiritual journey of a human also. That has to take place. Change has to be, it's a gradual change. A person needs to make the efforts. Why now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, I'm going to say, لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طَبَقًا عَنْ طَبَقٍ. Rakab is to ride. A ship or a camel. You're going to ride changes after changes. أي درجة بعد درجة. You're going to go through levels. Maybe levels of difficulty, levels of family relationships, levels of economical situation, levels of social problems, levels of spiritual levels. Sometimes you feel so uplifted in deen. Sometimes you feel down. You will go through these changes. لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طبق here أي درجة. You will go through these gradual changes. And the next tabaq after this, is the grave. And in a holistic form is the grave. And after the grave is hashar. And after hashar is effect in salah. You know, there is of course enjoyment, happiness. That's there. So, but when a person becomes 60, 65, or 55, now think about the brothers that came from Malaysia retire at 50 in Malaysia. Say, wow, 50. Some people start work at 50 who graduate late from grad school. 50, they're retiring life. But here we are. A person will have to just go through the progress, and that is leading to an ultimate destination. One thing that I would like to touch base is the Quran. Normally, every time it says "Fala uqsim," the Quran usually follows it by a word of the Quran. The Quran talks about Quran, and when Allah says "Fala uqsimu," when Allah usually swears by this form, Allah is going to speak about the Quran next. For example, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَا تُبْصِرُونَ وَمَا لَا تُبْصِرُونَ إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلُ رَسُولٍ كَرِيمٍ وَمَا هُوَ بِقَوْلِ شَاعِرٍ. Allah is doing qasam for the Quran. صح أم لا? Another place, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَوَاقِعِ النُّجُومِ وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ إِنَّهُ لَقُرْآنٌ كَرِيمٌ. So the qasam is taking place again. Allah says again, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالْخُنَّسِ الْجَوَارِ الْكُنَّسِ وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا عَسْعَسَ وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسَ إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلُ رَسُولٍ كَرِيمٍ. So Allah is speaking towards the qawl, which is Quran, the message which is being by Jibreel to, and Allah is testifying to the authority of Jibreel. مُطَاعٍ ثَمَّ أَمِينٍ. We already did the tafsir of this. Except there's exceptions in the place where Allah has used فَلَا أُقْسِمُ 2 times. Allah did not bring the Quran. In this surah, it's still different. Allah says in Surah Ma'arij, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِرَبِّ الْمَشَارِقِ وَالْمَغَارِبِ إِنَّا لَقَادِرُونَ. The difference here is, even now, Allah is swearing about Himself. When Allah takes qasam, either it's regarding the Quran, which is a sifa of Allah, or Himself. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِرَبِّ الْمَشَارِقِ وَالْمَغَارِبِ إِنَّا لَقَادِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَن نُبَدِّلَ. He will change you and bring someone else. خَيْرًا مِنْهُ وَمَا نَحْنُ بِمَسْبُوقِينَ. We will bring someone else. You can win. You can beat us into the decision of my order. Nobody can do this. Here Allah says, فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالشَّفَقِ وَاللَّيْلِ مَا وَسَقَ وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا اتَّسَقَ. There's no Quran yet. Gradually, لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طَبَقًا عَنْ طَبَقٍ. Allah says, فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Now Allah brings the Quran. وَإِذَا قُرِيَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقُرْآنُ لَا يَسْجُدُونَ. So the sequence is still there. But in this sequence, it's a little lengthier. It comes a little further in the discussion. And they don't believe. فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. And why don't they? They don't believe in the Day of Judgment. Why? Why is there still like this doubt? When Allah is talking about, of course there's so much scientific discussion in this, but this is not a class of science. Allah says, وَإِذَا قُرِيَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقُرْآنُ. Why don't they believe? And then why? What does belief mean here? When the ayats of Quran are recited in front of them, they don't do sajda. Over here, of course, it becomes wajib to do sajda. Now, discussion on the fiqh of the sajda of the Quran. There are 14, 15 places in the Quran where a person has to do sajda tilawa. Sajda tilawa, there is no substitute for it. Sajda tilawa must be made when a person reads the sajda. So inshallah, when we're done, we'll do sajda. Okay? Has to be done with wudu. Has to be done with wudu. If you're memorizing the Quran, you're reading that ayah over, again, I'll read it again. وَإِذَا قُرِيَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقُرْآنُ لَا يَسْجُدُونَ. So I read it at least 4 or 5 times today. So do I do 5 sajdas or do I do 1? I do 1. Because I am in one place. If you hear someone else read the ayah, sajda, you also have to do it. Another ruling, if you come in salah and the imam read it, you're not in salah, you don't have to do sajda. If you're not in salah, that sajda has to be done with the imam. If the imam forgets to do sajda, you cannot do your sajda later. The sajda is specific for the imam. If the imam forgets in Taraweeh to do sajda in this ayah, is the salah batil? No. Just do istighfar. You can't do sajda later. Has to be in the salah fi nafs al-amal. That's how the Prophet ﷺ did it. So these are a few rulings of the sajda tilawa. If someone you hear recording or CD or your iTunes Quran or your app Quran recitation, you don't have to do sajda. You don't have to do sajda. The qira'ah of a phone or iPad, you don't have to do sajda. Does not come under the hukum of qira'ah al-rajul, of a person. It's just a recording. So I want to conclude here because I don't want to take too much time and I want everybody to feel like we are covering the surah, and people who are missing out, it just doesn't feel right for me to. The class is supposed to finish at this time. This is the rulings of sajda. When sajda is recited, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The whole idea is when Allah is ordering you to sajda, we should do sajda. The question is, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ عَلَيْهِمْ, when the Quran is recited upon them, why don't they do sajda? So only a believer will do sajda. You know, a believer will, so it becomes, in these places, but not all the places in the Quran. There's many other surahs that have the word sajda. We have a surah called Surah Sajda in the Quran also. There's a sajda in there. Prophet ﷺ used to read the surah sajda in Fajr of Jum'ah. So these are the surahs that are recommended. This is not the last sajda, this is the second last sajda of the Quran. Did you have a question, sister? Sister Ajaz? Did you have a question? Okay. So this Okay, perfect. That's good. You reminded me. Sometimes we cannot do sajda. So of course, if someone's not in tahara, they can wait and do sajda maybe later. You know. So there is also a form of qada of sajda. So a person can read a lot of Quran for maybe 1-2 weeks and didn't do all the sajda. So when they're free and they have wudu and they're facing the qibla, they can do all the sajdas. Just do like 20 sajdas at once. Do you have to? People usually stand up and they go down. You don't have to do that either. Sajda, it doesn't have qiyam in it. The sajda is the amal of the head touching the ground. And we already talked about the fiqh of sajda before. 7 parts of the body have to touch the Quran, the ground. You know, so the sajda cannot be done at zawal time, at zenith point, and the midday, when the sun is right above our head, where salah is not allowed, before dhuhr salah. At sunrise, no. At sunset, no sajda. At this time it's haram to do sajda. ممنوع الصلاة في هذا الوقت. At sunrise, sunset, and zawal. It is makruh to do sajda after fajr, before sunrise. So after fajr salah, you prayed your fajr, it is makruh to do sajda at that time till sunrise, and after asr to end, because there is no salah after asr and after maghrib, after fajr. There is no salah after fajr until duha. So there is no ibadah of sajda at that time. A lot of people do it because if you have the fear that I might forget, then you should do it. It's not a recommended time to do it. Do it after sunrise. Yeah. And there's some people who have this feeling like, you know what, I'm not sure if I remember. They know their own situation. Then for them it's wajib to do it then. Mafhum? Yeah. So you're lucky. You can do so many sajdas now. Yeah, just do 1 second sajdas. Allahu Akbar, Subhan Rabbil A'la, back, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Yeah. Yeah. No. If somebody has back problem and they don't go into sajda, they can just do it on the table. Like I'm saying, someone who doesn't do sajda, but that's not the way to do sajda. But once. Should I show you? Yes. Yeah. So some people usually. Is stand up and resist that. You don't have to do that. So you read Quran, whether we are Quran as you do, you have to do class in time, right? And then Allah. Unless you're saying Salam's name. Sajda shakr, you don't need wudu. Sajda shakr, you don't need wudu. This is such that you need wudu for, because it is a mu'ayyan ibadah, and it's a selective mashru' ibadah. Children, if they do it under the age of 9, girls, boys, I wouldn't recommend them to do wudu and, let's just let them teach them how to do it, just how to follow the principle. My shaykh even say, if the children don't have wudu, don't send them back and forth to make wudu because they'll waste a lot of time making wudu and they'll lose their lesson time. So if they're not baligh, as long as they're not najas, don't waste them back and forth spending. Like a lot of kids come up to me, Shaykh, I want to do wudu. Like, just sit down and read. Because when the kids go to do wudu, they take 20 minutes and they come back and this class time is almost done. So at that certain age, Subhana Rabbil A'la. Yeah. You have a question? There's a people read this dua. What is that dua? Now, that's the dua the Prophet ﷺ used to read in sajda, tahajjud. There was a general dua the Prophet ﷺ used to read in sajda. So if you learn that dua from her, it's a good dua to read in sajda. But that dua, some people use that dua as a substitute of sajda. There is no substitute to the sajda. The sajda still needs to be done. That's the ruling on sajda, and there's one more in the Quran. There's one in the 17th juz that the Hanafis don't consider a sajda because there's a difference of opinion if the Prophet ﷺ did sajda there. So the Prophet ﷺ used to do sajda in these places. So we have Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar say, "Ra'aytu Rasul sallallahu yasjudu fi hadhihi al-ayah." He did sajda. He was riding a camel, and he did this sajda like this. So it's just Shafaq Ahmar is that one at Maghrib. Okay, we're gonna stop the broadcast.